gentlemen, go. We're going to be tactically and swift up the stairs. Here we go. Left foot, right foot. Left foot, right foot.
There we go. There we go.
Where they at?
Fellas, spit on your fingers prematurely because we're about to get started.
He knew. He read me. That was really nice. Let's fucking go. Intruder, created and published by Superboss Games, is tight. It might look like Metal Gear Solid 1, but it plays like Metal Gear Solid 5, and I love it. The problem is, it's hard. It's really hard. So I'm going to give you 5 tips, 5 core, fundamental aspects of Intruder's gameplay, so that you can be less trash at this game. I'm not saying that I'm great at this game, I'm not even saying I'm good, but I sunk a little time into it. I feel like I've breached the beginner phase into an intermediate style of play, so I'm going to lay out the 5 pillars of Intruder gameplay, and you're going to buy this game. You won't regret it.
Oh my god. No way.
Beautiful. Intruder diverts from the norm by taking a stealth approach to gameplay. It's a shooter, for sure, but you don't know where the enemies are most of the time, which means half the gameplay is looking for the bad guys. Looking for the bad guys is not always the most engaging. You're not trying to shoot anybody, you don't feel like you're in immediate danger, but you are. So pillar number 1 is Vigilance. You always need to have your gun up, you always need to assume that there's a guard right around the corner, and you always need to be ready to shoot some bitches, okay? This clip here is 2 minutes of exploring the map and looking for opponents. It's great gameplay. The movement feels amazing, the tension rises as you continue to walk. Remaining silent but mobile is an important balance to strike, but there's nobody to shoot at, and so it's easy to lose yourself in your thoughts or planning out your next steps, where you're going to get the briefcase if you're going to hack, and the next thing you know you're getting shot. You always need to be vigilant, even if it seems like there's nobody there. So pillar 1's pretty easy to understand. Keep your gun up, stay alert, don't fall asleep on the wheel. But pillar 2 is a little harder because if you're used to games like COD, you're playing a bunch of battle royales, you're going to go into Intruder hoping your OSU aim and your twitch reflexes are going to carry you. They won't. Intruder's a stealth game, you have to play it stealthy. So pillar 2, stealth. Knowing the maps, knowing your utility, knowing how the movement works, will give you a serious edge over people who don't. It's not going to win every engagement. Sometimes people will head check a corner and they'll just kill you. But it's much easier to land a sucker punch from behind when they don't even know you're there. Some maps are balanced for the element of surprise. Mountainside, Riverside B1 Hack. These maps don't give the intruders tools like the SMG, which shoots farther and does more knockdown damage, so you have a larger kit of versatility if you have the SMG and the pistol. The intruders don't have that on these maps because they're able to approach the mission from all of these different angles while the guards are stuck guarding the objectives. That element of knowing where your opponents are and an element of surprise, you get to attack whenever you want, are balanced within the game's kit. Pillar 2 and Pillar 3 go hand in hand, because while you can't play this game like every first-person shooter, in a stealth aspect, you need to be stealthy, you can't just run and gun and kill everybody. The same goes for Pillar 3, which is critical thinking. You need to learn from your mistakes, you need to learn maps, learn about what your opponents are doing, and then metagame, counterplay them. And it sounds like I'm being an elitist for Intruder, it sounds like I'm saying you need to be smart to play this game. That's not true, I play this game. What I am saying is you'll have a lot of information at your disposal in the short term that'll help you win a match. And in the long term, every death can be learned from, you can get better at the game beyond just getting better at shooting people. Here's an example. In this Riverside game, I was spectating a teammate of mine after I died when this happened. Oh, yikes. He died, he got shot in the head, but I took note of where he got shot from. So judging by the amount of time that was left in the round, it seemed only logical that they had either come through garden or they'd come through docks. And if they came through docks, they climbed up the elevator shaft and took this vent through this room and then ended up to the left of the stairs if you're descending. Now, if it worked for them this time, there were 2 of them, so likely they were going to do it again next round, and if they weren't, it was still worth it to check. Now the next round, I'm about to go up the stairs, but I decide against it. I decide to check to the left of the stairs, because last round my teammate got killed. Because I do this, I get a kill. I have terrible aim, I miss a bunch, I almost die despite getting the drop on him, but I still get the kill. This is not an example of a massive brain, like genius, top tier play, but it's a solid play. It's a good move. I figured that with the last round's knowledge, I could take that into this round, and it works out. Here's one more. I'm playing Cliffside. I'm walking down main hall. I check on my homie here. My homie's holding down an angle. It's all good. Garage is clear. I'm gonna go check the computers and guard spawn, when just as I'm turning away, I see a grenade come around the corner. Now, if my homie gets blown up by this grenade, those intruders are gonna come around the corner and try to finish him off. So I double back, and I ready at this angle, waiting for the intruders to come around once the grenade blows up. The grenade blows, my teammate goes down, and the intruder comes around the corner. I get a free kill, my homie and I survive, and, you know, resounding applause, everyone loves me. I get killed immediately after, but that's not as important. It's just an example of remaining vigilant. Remember Pillar 1, Vigilance, you're taking in the stimulus of the grenade coming around the corner despite your teammate already being there. You're remaining stealthy, you're not shouting out to your teammate, revealing your position. Pillar 2, and then also Pillar 3, critically thinking that grenade's coming around the corner, my teammate's in trouble, I'm gonna hold this angle to protect him. See? It's all coming together, Pillars 1, 2, and 3. Now, Pillar 4 is a little more universally applicable to a lot of different games, but it's still important to remember, it's communication. Communication in Intruder is really interesting.
Yeah, it sounds like us.
I need to hear the rest. You have a couple different options at your disposal. You can hold C for a local proximity voice chat. Works like Rust or, I don't know, any other game that has a local proximity voice chat. Everybody within a set radius can hear you, whether they're friendly or they're an enemy. You can hit F and you can pull out your radio. That way you can talk to the entire friendly team regardless of location, but the enemy team can still hear you if you're nearby them. If you hit Tab, that's where things start to get a little quirky. They're a little different. It's not like other games. Intruder has a snapping system. If you snap with your fingers by hitting Tab, it is audible to only the friendly team and not the enemy team. So you can make communication and calls through that without the enemy team hearing you. After you hit Tab, you can do hand gestures. You can make little pointing gestures. You can do a countdown. You can say go by pumping your fist, do a little train horn thing. It's great. It's a unique system. I haven't seen it in any other game, and it's really effective. You can have some really cool moments communicating with your team, like you're a catcher in baseball. You know, you're like giving them signals, and they're choosing their pitch based on that. A lot of the time, you'll hear radio calls like this.
I'm rigging up the downstairs package again.
People telling you that they're rigging up certain rooms. This is important because if you place a motion sensor on a door or anywhere that people just come through into the room, then they will typically blow up the C4 charges that they've placed next to the motion sensors. Now this is great, you know, you're going to catch some bad guys if they're trying to steal a briefcase or something, but you also have the potential of blowing up your teammate. Motion sensors don't know what motion is friendly and what motion is unfriendly. It'll just make a beep if it detects motion. So your teammates will say things like, I'm rigging up downstairs briefcase, I'm rigging up this room, so that you don't go into that room and get blown up. Or at the very least, you tell them before you enter that room. Generally, people communicate pretty effectively, but sometimes...
They're only upstairs?
Sometimes...
Ayo, ayo, ayo.
People get a little carried away. And that's when we get the demoted servers. But we won't talk about those today. We were talking about the pillars, right? The pillars. I'm getting distracted. The pillars. Pillar number 4, communication. Talk to your team, lay out the strats, all that. Pillar 5 is arguably one of the most important pillars to remember. All the other ones, you know, get better at the game, make sure you're having fun, this and that, whatever. But Pillar 5 is an essential component to the Intruder formula. Pillar 5 is bullshit. This game has bullshit. It's packed with bullshit. There's bullshit everywhere. Look at this clip. I was in the room. I was not in the hallway. How did he see me? He was in the hallway. He could not have seen me from here. I was in the room outside the hallway, and then he shot at me, and I died, and now I'm in the hallway. For the sake of not showing a bunch of clips of me dying and then claiming that it's the game being bad, I won't give it all that many examples about bullshit, but I can assure you there's some weird stuff in this game. Some of the hitboxes are a little weird. The servers aren't exceptional, but it's in early access, it's an indie studio, and the game itself is really, really good. It's just good to keep in mind that sometimes if you're really upset about a death that you had, you feel like it was bullshit, it might have been. Give yourself some slack. You can learn from it, but don't worry about it too much. If you don't like the tips, disregard them. It doesn't matter. Play the game. Go to Steam and put the game in your inventory and then install it and play it because it is good. That is the one pillar of Intruder. Do that and it'll be great. Okay, bye.